make them both positive. Once you divide by -1, you get 9 equals x squared. Now you do what, Bradley? Good. So x equals? Why is it 3 and -3? Jordan?
Because when it's -9 equals negative.
What's that?
Because a negative and a positive equals a negative.
Okay. But remember, when we square something, we multiply it by itself. So Paula, why is it positive and -3? Very good. There has to be two solutions. If it's x squared, we should run into two solutions, okay? If we don't, then it's one of those weird cases, right? But we should have two solutions. And plus, if you take 3 and you multiply it by 3, what do you get? 9. If you take -3 and you multiply it by -3, what do you get? 9. These are both the square roots of 9 because both of them multiplied by themselves will give you that number, okay? All right. This is a very, very easy lesson, okay? This is lesson 9.4, factoring to solve quadratic equations. I need you guys to copy down all the way to the yellow. Okay, so take a look at this expression, right? X plus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0, okay? When we are multiplying two things by each other and they equal 0, one of them has to be equal to 0. Do you agree? Because you can't take like 1 times 1 and it be equal to 0. It's anything times 0 must be equal to 0. So one or both of them have to be equal to 0. So what we do with this 0, right, is we take it and we set it equal to each part. So we're gonna get two equations from this. We're gonna get x plus 3, the first parentheses, equals 0, and we're gonna get x plus 2 equals 0. And then we just solve for x. So let's take the first one, x plus 3 equals 0. How do we solve for x there? Yeah, Paula? You just subtract 3 from both sides. So then Amanda, x equals what? If this goes away, x equals? -3. Easy, right? Anthony, what's the second one going to give us?
Like the answer?
Yeah.
-2.
Yeah. So we just subtract 2 from both sides. We're going to get x equals -2. Now, in the past, remember when we solved these? We would get like x equals a positive and a negative number of the same thing, okay? This is where we're going to see b is not equal to 0. When b is equal to 0, that means that we don't have an x term. It's just something squared and a number. All you have to do is find those square roots. You're going to take the square root of something. When there's a b term, that's when we have to factor. And I'll show you guys, okay? What are the solutions for 4t plus 1, t minus 2? Go ahead and copy this one down. Same thing, guys. We just set the entire parentheses equal to 0, but we have 2 of them, okay? So this one's going to be 4t
I only want you to copy
plus
down
1
this part.
equals
You don't
0.
have to copy down this part. You don't-
What was that? And then we also have t minus 2 equals 0. How are we going to solve the one on the left? What do we need to do first? Isabella?
Subtract 1 on both sides.
Good. Subtract 1 first. And we're going to get what, Isabella?
4t equals -1.
And then what do we do?
You divide
By?
by 4.
Good. So my answer, let's just leave it as a fraction, is what? Yep, -1/4. Remember, we're going to have how many solutions? 2 solutions, okay? Bradley, can you solve t minus 2 equals 0? Easier than it looks. Yep, you just add 2 to both sides. You get t equals 2. Easy, right?
I didn't see you do the first one.
You didn't see me do the first one? Okay, so all I did was subtract 1 to both sides, right? Because we have to add or subtract first, and then we had to divide by 4 because we need to get rid of this 4 that's attached to the t. Once you divide by 4, you just get negative 1 over 4. Okay? Now, guys, this is the easy part, but getting your expression to look like this is what's tricky, okay? But it's not necessarily tricky. All you have to do is be able to factor. Now, chapter 8, I know a lot of you guys really, really like chapter 8. That was all the factoring stuff, right? We're bringing that back in this lesson, and we're only applying this to it, okay? So let's take a look at something like this. X squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0, okay? So now our left side is not factored yet. We have to factor it ourselves, right? So we need two numbers that when you multiply them, they give me what? Remember, A is 1 in this case. Jordan? What's that? Do you guys remember when we would do this? And then two numbers that when they add together, they give me something else. Paula, what do you think? What's that?
No,
So remember, we're factoring. Yep. They must multiply to give me 15, our C. And when we add them together, they have to give me 8. Do you guys remember that?
yeah.
Okay. So now we have to come up with two numbers that when we multiply them, they give me 15. When we add them, they give me 8. Do you have it, Isabella?
Yeah, 5 and 3.
Excellent. 5 and 3. Now, this is only when there's no number here, right? When A is 0. If there was an A, we would have to take that A and multiply it by the C, okay? In this case, we're just taking something that multiplies together to give me 15, something that adds together to give me 8. So we get 5 and 3. My factor is just x plus 5 times x plus 3 equals 0. And guess what? All we have to do is set each of these equal to 0. So we're going to set x plus 5 equal to 0, x plus 3 equal to 0. X plus 5 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0. How do we solve x plus 5 equals 0? Yep. We're going to get x equals negative 5. And we're also going to get x equals negative 3 because we subtract 3 from both sides. Now, we can always check that we did it right by plugging them back in, right? So let's do that. Let's start with where we started, x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. And let's plug in x equals negative 5 everywhere we see x. So we're going to write parentheses squared plus 8 times x plus 15 equals 0. Steven, what do you want to plug in first, negative 5 or 3? Or, yeah, negative 5. All right, Steven, what's negative 5 squared? Positive 25. And then what happens when we take 8 and multiply it by negative 5? Negative 40. And then the 15 is just 15, right? Equals 0. What's 25 minus 40? Jordan? Nope, not negative 35. Yep. Negative 15. What's negative 15 plus positive 15? Does 0 equal 0? Yep. Should we try it with negative 3? No? You guys trust me? Okay, fine. We will then we'll test it with the next one. Okay? But that is how you are going to check your answers. All right? Let's try the next one. Okay. Copy down m squared minus 5m minus 14 equals 0. That when we multiply them together, they're going to give me negative 14, our C. And when we add them together, they're going to give me negative 5. You got it, Brooke? What is it? Booyah! Negative 7 and positive 2. Let's check it out. What's negative 7 times positive 2? Negative 14. What's negative 7 plus 2? Negative 5. Do these work? Absolutely. So my factors are just m and m. What goes in the parentheses, guys? Minus 7. And what's the other one, Anthony? Plus 2. So we factored. Now we have to set each equal to 0. So I say m minus 7 equals 0. This first one equals 0. And I say m plus 2 equals 0. So what are the solutions for m? Isabella?
If the m equals 7,
Mm-hmm.
equals negative 7.
Yep, that's it. All right, we're going to check one. Isabella, you want to check negative 2 or 7?
Put the pressure on me.
Pick the smaller one. Okay, we're going to pick negative 2. Okay, good choice. All right, so we're going to plug in wherever I see an m, a negative 2. So something squared minus 5 times something minus 14 equals 0. Everywhere we see m, we plug in negative 2. Negative 2. What's negative 2 squared? Brock. Ooh, 4. Nice. Why positive 4? Booyah. Anything squared is going to give you a positive, okay? If you get a negative, double check yourself. All right, and then negative 5 times negative 2, Marina. Positive 10, so plus 10. And then the negative 14 just stays minus 14. What's 4 plus 10? 14. What's 14 minus 14? Is this true? Booyah. Tell me, while you guys are copying this one down, why is this one different? Brooke? Very good. There's a number in front of the a squared. So our factoring becomes different. Not harder, but different, okay? Who remembers what do we do when we have a number in front of the squared term? Follow? Very good. We have to take a times c. In other words, 2 times 18. Nick, what is 2 times 18? Very good, 36. So we've got 36 is the number that we need to get multiplied. That's our product. So something times something equals 36, and something plus something equals negative 15, because this is where we're using our b.
An interruption. Abraham Corcus, report to student services, please. Abraham Corcus, report to student services, please. Thank
Now,
you.
this one ain't easy, peeps. Any ideas what times it's something, and then when we add them together, they give me negative 15? Bradley?
I think.
Paula? There is a solution. Isabella?
Hold on. I'll tell you.
Bradley?
Negative 12.
Ayo, negative 12 and negative 3. Let's check it out. Negative 12 times negative 3. What do we get there? Positive 36. What happens when we add them together? Negative 15. Booyah, we figured out both of our factors. Now, remember, we cannot write a minus 12 times a minus 3. Why not? There's a 2 up here, okay? This is where we need to group them, okay? So go ahead and erase this down here. We need to group them. So we're going to rewrite our expression, but instead of negative 15a, we've now got negative 12a and minus 3a. So we're going to write 2a squared minus 12a minus 3a plus 18 equals 0. So remember, I just rewrite the original expression, but I break negative 15a down into 2 parts, a negative 12 and a negative 3. Okay, so we did that. Now we have to group them. Put a plus in between and factor out the greatest common factor. Does anyone see the greatest common factor in the first set of parentheses? Isabella? 2 and something else. Paula? No, it's positive 2. Brooke? 2a. Don't they both have an a? Okay, so if we take out 2a, we're just going to get a minus what? 6. And then the negative 3a and the 18. What can we pull out of there? Not just 3. Nope. Negative 3. So if we take out a negative 3, we've got a minus 6. Do our parentheses match?
Yeah.
Let's think about this. We have a positive here, and we pulled out a negative, right? Think about it like this, Paula. Whenever you pull out a negative, both the signs are going to change. Okay? So this will change to a positive. This will change to a negative. Okay? All right. So what's my final factor? What's my final expression completely factored? Go for it, Jordan.
2a to the second minus
Brooke, you want to help him out? Very good. Remember, once we group it, excellent job, Brooke. Once we group it, right, you just take the part that's outside the parentheses and you stick them together. So 2a minus 3 down here. And you take one of the parentheses and you just rewrite it. Okay? All right, what do you think we do next? You set them equal to 0, okay? Remember, once you factor, once you have 2 things times each other that equal 0, just set them both equal to 0 and you're done, okay? So we're going to set a minus 6 equals 0 and 2a minus 3 equals 0. In the first one, what am I going to get? A equals? Well, we just add 6 to both sides. So a equals 6. In the second one, what do I need to do? Isabella?
I do both sides.
Good.
And then you get 2a equals 3.
Uh-huh.
And then you divide that by 2.
Booyah. And then?
You leave it, or 3 and 1. And then
No, I'm sorry. I wrote the wrong thing. You were right.
Oh, and then you leave it as a fraction like that, and you
So a equals what?
3 over 2.
Excellent. Let's go. We're crushing it. Now, if we were to check, right, which one would we want to check?
6.
6, right? We don't want to deal with those fractions. That can get a little ugly, okay? So if you were to go back and check these solutions, check the 6, okay? All right. How we feeling? Pretty good? Because we're
It's probably gonna be long, because like, I don't know.
It's not long at all.
So shorter than the last one?
Mm-hmm. Way shorter.
Oh, I know.
Quick question. Why does this one look different? Marina?
Because it's not equal to 0.
A, it's not equal to 0. What is it equal to? 18. What do you think we do to have to make it equal to 0? Because we want it equal to 0, but what do we need to do?
Don't you like do like the A, B, C thing?
Yeah, we need A, B, and C, but we have to have this equal to 0. It won't work unless it's equal to 0. What can we do to this equation to make it so it's equal to 0? Anthony?
Alright, both sides, right?
Yes, subtract both sides by 18. That's how easy these questions are. So now we subtract both sides by 18, and look what happens. Look what happens, people. 18 minus 18, we get 4x squared minus 21x minus 18 equals 0. Do we know how to factor this? Do we know how to solve this? Yes, then we start from here. We're not going to work this problem all the way through. I just want you guys to see, okay, sometimes they're not equal to 0. Just make it equal to 0. You may have to subtract or add something to both sides, okay? Draw a huge fat line